Hello, everybody. Welcome to the coaching corner. All right. Hello, house underscore of Andrea. Hello. Hello, live underscore your underscore life underscore consultant. Hello, and welcome. I'm just checking my sound. Oh, and it sounds good. Oops, and I sound good. All right, great. I'm trying to make sure I don't sound crazy when I'm on these lives, okay? All right, so as always, if you see me turn to my left, I am going live on my IG, my Instagram, okay? And before we start anything, let's share out this live. Let's share out this live with as many people as possible. Remember, if you have questions, put them in the comments and I will respond to them. So let's go ahead and share this out. We're sharing, share out the live. We're sharing it out. We're sharing it out. All right, share out the live. Sharing it out. Alrighty. Alright. Share out. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and get right into it. And I pray everyone is having an amazing day. Everyone is safe. Everyone is enjoying this weather. Oh, it is getting it was a little chilly this morning, but it's starting to shift. It's starting to shift and get a little warmer. You know, you're starting to feel the spring. I'm happy because my birthday is in the spring. My birthday is April the 6th, and I hope it is a sunny, gorgeous day. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and get started. As always, if you are catching this live on the replay, please put hashtag replay in the comments so that I know you're catching the replay. All right, so tonight's topic, we're going to focus on differentiating instruction tips. Okay, I did a reel this week about tips for differentiated instruction. And I thought, let me just recap those, go in a little bit more detail, and then share a few more because they'll be extremely helpful because they can help everyone, not just students that have an IEP. All right. So one of the first tips that I gave was to color code your assignments and your materials. This was something that I did a lot when I was in the classroom. I color coded everything. I use color paper for everything. One, because it helps students to easily identify the assignment that we were on. If it was a particular sheet, they could easily identify it. And then when I would post on Google Classroom, I would put the color of the paper in parentheses with the assignment. Hello, Andy Sue 38. Assalamu alaikum, Sharif. Think he funny. It was easier for parents to also identify the assignment too because I put it in parentheses what the color of their paper was so they can easily identify it for their students and they know what to do. So that's one easy tip. Color code your papers like that. Now, when we were doing projects or essays in a classroom and we were doing like a research project, we used colored highlighters. So we used yellow, blue, and pink. So for our first body paragraph, we highlighted information in yellow. Second body paragraph, we highlighted things in pink. Third body paragraph, we highlighted our evidence in blue. Now, what do you think I did with that? I had colored paper to go along with the color highlighters that we were using. So their body paragraph 1 notes page, what color was it? It was yellow because they highlighted their body paragraph 1 information in yellow. Body paragraph 2, the notes page was pink to match with the pink highlighting that they did. Body paragraph 3 was blue. The paper was blue, so it can go align with the blue highlighting that they did. That's what I used in the classroom. And that was easily, it helped them to pace the project, to pace the assignment. Now, that was easy to do when we were in person. When COVID hit and we had to go remote, I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to color code things? So what I did was I would highlight sections of the essay we were focusing on. I would highlight that in a color so they knew what section we will be working on for that particular day. So color coding things is extremely helpful. Okay. Another tip was to add word banks, fill in the blanks, and matching. Now, you may think, well, that's very juvenile. Like, why would you do that? It doesn't have to be juvenile. I mean, filling in a blank may seem juvenile, but if you focus on the core content of your lesson or of your subject, like what is the core things you want the student to know, you can easily put those questions in a matching format, a fill in the blank format, or in a format and include a word bank for that. Also, you can easily have a constructive response question, and you can have a detailed directions for them to answer that question. And this will allow you to see, what does the student know? They may not know everything, writing everything all out by memory, doing a bunch of constructive response questions. They may not be able to be successful with that, but if you have various ways that they can respond to the content, they can show you what they know. Okay, so you may say, like I said, you may say it's juvenile, but your content isn't juvenile. Using those different strategies to show what the students know, to show what they know about the content. All right, the third tip was to use graphic organizers. You can do this not just for writing. You can do this for math problems. If you have math word problems, you can do this in every content. I love graphic organizers. And you can easily identify your graphic organizers by removing, by removing the simplified directions you have in your graphic organizer. So when me and my co-teacher were co-teaching 7th grade English, we had like 3 types of graphic organizers. One was completely blank, and that's what we gave to the students who moved. Hey, Dr. Scott, that moved who pretty much moved pretty quickly, understood the writing process, understood how to organize their ideas. They got a basic graphic organizer for a 5-paragraph essay. Then we had students in the middle. They had the same graphic organizer, but in each box, it reminded them, okay, this is introduction. Body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, just to remind them what to do. They got that. Then we had another graphic organizer. They had the same graphic organizer as the ones in the middle that had it labeled by intro, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2. But then we also added some reminders in there, like introduction, include your thesis, we reminded them what to have. Oh, body paragraph 1, what is your first topic with your 3 supporting details? Like, we made sure we included those reminders in the graphic organizer. Therefore, we had 3 types of graphic organizers, and they accommodated all the students in our classroom. Everybody didn't get the same one, and everybody didn't know that it was different ones either. One, because all of them were on the same colored paper, but I passed out certain ones. My co-teacher passed out certain ones. They never picked up that we were passing out different graphic organizers to them. They didn't know, because if you're just watching me pass out papers, you see me passing out the same green paper to everybody, but it wasn't. Okay, that's another thing. You can have different forms of your assignment. They don't know what's going to the same kid, especially if you're using Google Classroom. You can assign it directly to the student themselves, so they don't know who's getting what. Easy way to identify, to differentiate. Hello, Holistic Fluency. Welcome to the Coaching Corner. All right, so we did color coding, adding word banks, fill in the blanks, matching, graphic organizer. Oh, next step, my favorite, clear directions. Whatever assignment you give, make sure you put directions, clear, sequential, simplified directions on the assignment. Bold those directions, and make sure you use sequential wording, like first, next, then, so they know and they can see, okay, first I need to do this, next I need to do this, then I need to do this. So I would do that only with 3 steps. 3 steps directions, that's it. Anything beyond that, you need to get a checklist, because then that's too many steps you put in directions. So 3-step directions, so they can easily see, first I need to do something, Next, I need to do something, and then I need to do one more thing. And you can italicize the first, next, then you can italicize it, but definitely always put sequential directions on the paper. So that way, if they ask you a question, you can refer them back to the directions to read. But always put directions on your assignments. Clear, simplify, sequential directions. All right, next tip is utilize checklist. Anything beyond 3 steps, use a checklist. We use checklists when we have projects. It helped us a lot, and it also helps the parents too. One, because it's helping students track what they are doing, what they have done, but this also helps parents to see like what are all the things their child has to do. Also, with checklists, we will put that on our writing assignments as well, because it reminded students what they needed to include in their essays. Do you have a thesis? Do you have your 3 supporting details? Do you have evidence to support those details? Did you explain those details? Do you have a conclude? All of those things. Put it in a checklist so they can easily check off what they have to do. You can even do this in the morning. This is not even just for middle school. You can do this with elementary students, high school students. Like if you have a certain routine in the morning where they have to turn in homework, they gotta check to see what they missed. They had to, whatever it is, you can put that on a checklist. I used to have my do now on a board. I had the checklist right next to it, and then I also laminated copies of it, because I know for some of my students it's hard to look up and then remember what they have to do and then look back up and remember what they have to do. So I had checklists. They had dry erase markers, and they would check off what they needed to do. And then they knew it became so much a routine. Once we were done, one student always got up to collect it, and one student collected the dry erase markers. You make it a routine. Dr. Scott says, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You make it a routine. Holistic.fluency says, exactly, discrete differentiation, when I was referring to the passing out the different graphic organizers. Yes, you make it a routine. Checklists are amazing, but also you have to model it. Okay, you have to model it, because sometimes you'll have students just check off whatever, and it's like, no, did you actually do the steps? Okay, hold them accountable to follow through. All right, so those were the 5 I had in my reel. I want to share 3 more. Okay, so another way to differentiate. Oh my God, say that fast. Differentiate. Another way to differentiate your instruction is to regularly check for understanding. You should always be doing this in your classroom. Checks for understanding. You can do this with a do now. You can do a quick review. You can ask your class questions. You can do an exit ticket. These are all checks for understanding, because the student responses will let you know if they got it or if they didn't. And this will let you know if you need to reteach something, or you can say, oh, I can move on, or I can extend this a little further. Okay, Dr. Scott said night and day when there is a clear path to where you need them to go. Exactly. It doesn't have to be difficult at all. Okay, so you always want to do checks for understanding, and this can be you just walking around your classroom asking questions to students. Now, some students, depending on their needs, they may get very anxious when they have to answer questions. You may have students who have speech impediments, and they need to work themselves up to get the words out. So what you can do is, when you get ready to start asking questions, you can say, let's say Jonathan has a speech impediment, he stutters. You can say, Jonathan, I'm going to call on you 3rd, or Jonathan, I'm going to call on you 4th, just so he knows that his turn, he's gonna be asked a question, so he can get himself together. Or you can have a signal with Jonathan, so that way when he put that signal up, you know he needs to get the words out, and you can just call on him immediately. Okay, that's another trick. Okay, You got to pay attention. See, you got to pay attention to your kids in the classroom. Students that have speech impediments, that have that stutter really badly, they have to work their way up to answering the question. And this is, thank you, Holistic Fluency. That's called warm calling. When you warn them ahead of time, I'm going to call on you. And this is just what I learned. Students that stutter, we do a signal. As soon as I see that signal, I'm like, yes, Jonathan. And he's ready to answer my question. Because if I don't, it's going to go down and he's going to have to work himself back up to be able to get the words out. Okay? All right. Hey, Demetra, do you have transition words or phrases? Oh, that's another great tip that you can use. When you are using another way to differentiate your instruction, you can have like, when you're writing, you can have word lists and banks of word transition words and phrases that you will use when you're trying to go from one point to the other, when you're trying to compare or contrast, when you're showing the difference of time. We used to do, what was it called? Interactive notebooks. And there was one activity we did. It was transition statements. So it was exactly what I said. It was different transition statements focusing on time, compare, contrast, adding on, taking away, all different words that you can use. Because I did this because a lot of students just kept saying also, also, also. So when it came time for them to draft their journals or essays or projects, and they would say, oh, Miss Bashir, I need a transition word for da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, I think you need to get out your interactive notebook and turn it to that transitions activity because you're not working my brain. But I did that to get them in the habit of utilizing the resources given to them. Okay, and then now as they use that, some of them get comfortable with using certain words, like in addition, furthermore. Okay, have to study your kids. Yes, Holistic Fluency, you have to study your kids. Hello, Alicia the Great. Thank you for joining us. Hey. So yes, you definitely have to get to know your students because you'll know how they will respond to questions. You can read their body language. But definitely if you have students with speech impediments, that is a trick, not a trick. That is a strategy that you can use in your classroom. Hey, you can definitely do a signal with them, or if you want to use, when I was an emotional support teacher, one student in particular, we used 2 colored cards, yellow and red. This is how I know if she, that she needed a break or needed to step out. You can do that with the students too. If they hold up a green one, they got the answer or something like they know the answer and to call on them right away. That's just a strategy that you can use. All right, we got 2 more. Another tip for differentiation is when you are doing your lesson planning. As you are lesson planning, create scaffolded questions for your lesson. Everybody is not going to understand every single thing that you are instructing, and they may not have the background knowledge to understand it to the point, to the level that you are teaching it. So you may have to do some scaffolded questions to get them there. What I mean by scaffolded questions is you are starting with some simpler questions to build them up to the level of instruction that you are instructing the class. Okay? So always, as you are doing your lesson planning, create scaffolded questions in your lesson plan, because that will help you when you get those students who are not sure, they don't understand, they don't have the background knowledge. You can utilize those scaffolded questions to help you support them, to guide them to where you are going with your instruction. Always create scaffolded questions. Even when you're having discussions in class, have scaffolded questions ready to support those students who may struggle. And then also you can have it for those students who are struggling, but also you can create some additional ones for those students who are there with you, and you can stretch their minds, just stretch them a little further with your questioning. Dr. Scott says, build that capacity. Absolutely, Dr. Scott. You hit it right on the nail. You're building that capacity. All right. Last but not least, have opportunities for choice. In your assignment, Everybody doesn't have to produce the same exact assignment for you to know that they understand what you are teaching them. Have choice. Let's say for the last part of the lesson, you can have 2 options or you can have 3 options. One is it could be complete a worksheet. Another option could be draw a comic about what you understand, or draw a picture about what you understood from today's lesson. Another option could be to write a paragraph about what you learned about today's lesson. You have 3 different ways that the student can let you know what they understood, how they understood it, and they are choosing to show you how they understand. Okay, so have opportunities for choice in your instruction. Okay, so let's recap those tips. Hello, Alicia _CC4. All right, so color code things. You can use colored paper. You can incorporate colored highlighters. Oh, highlighters already colored. You can incorporate different colored highlighters, different color highlighters to help you with differentiating your instruction. Add word banks, fill in the blanks matching to give students various ways to present what they know, and focusing on the core content of your lesson. Like, what is the core things you want the students to understand and know? You don't have to have all these questions. You can put it in about 10 questions, and you can have them respond in different ways, using the word bank, using the matching, or using simplified directions with a open-ended question. Okay. Graphic organizers, and you can have different types of graphic organizers. Everybody don't have to have the same exact one, and they don't have to know that. Be discreet. Just like I said, when we were passing out the graphic organizers, the students didn't know some of them were getting different ones. All they saw was a green paper Miss Bashir was passing out. All right, Dr. Scott said, then when they are proving they can do it, start incorporating what excellence looks like. Correct, Dr. Scott. All right, so we did color coding, adding word banks, fill in the blanks matching, graphic organizers, clear sequential directions. Always put directions on your assignment. No more than 3 steps. Okay? So that's like your first, next, then. Don't do no more than that. Okay? If you do any more than that, you need to do a checklist. Simplified directions, no more than 3. Okay? Simplified. Okay? And you can easily bold these, put italicize this. You can easily do that. Love the discrete differentiation. Yes. Checklist. If you have multiple steps, definitely utilize a checklist. You can utilize it on your projects. I definitely use it on all of the essays that we had to do, and I made students go back to check off. Do you have these in your essay? It was easy for them to use a checklist, and it also helps parents at home so they know what needs to be included in the assignment. Hold on. Oh, sorry, that is checklist. Regularly check for understanding. This could be you doing a do now. You could be walking around asking questions. You can do an exit ticket. Their response, the students' responses to you will let you know if you need to reteach something, or if you can extend something that you taught the previous day, or if you can just go on to something else. Their responses will let you know. And a strategy, if you have students in your classroom that have speech impediments, stutter, you want a warm call, because they have to work themselves up to answer the question. So you can say, Jonathan, I'm going to call on you in a little bit because I want to ask you a question about, and let him or her know what the question is about, so that way they can prepare themselves to answer you. Or they can give you a signal, or you may have a colored card that they can hold up, so that's your signal that they know it, and you can just call on them right away, so that way they can get it out, answer the question. Because if you don't, they're going to lose it, and then they got to build it back up to answer the question. All right. Regularly check for understanding. Scaffolded questions. When you are doing your lesson plans, have your scaffolded questions on your lesson plan, because that will help you with those students who may not understand where you are with the lesson at the level you are instructing, and they may not have the background knowledge. So you can use those scaffolded questions to build them up, to where you are. And then also you can use it for those other scholars who you need to push their thinking a little further. Okay, scaffolding questions. And then you want to have your opportunities for choice. Give students an opportunity to show you what they learned from a lesson and giving them the choice to do it. They may do this by writing a paragraph. They can do this by drawing a picture about what they learned. Or it could be another way. They can make a comic strip. They could complete a worksheet, answer some questions about what they learned. So give them the choice. You can put, I'll say no more than 3. And if 3 is too much, just do 2. All right. I hope all of these tips were very helpful. Definitely remember, if you are watching this on a replay, put hashtag replay in the comments. And for those of you who are new to my page, I am Jamila, aka the IEP Coach. I can talk about the IEP all day long, and we provide support to schools, to principals, helping them to keep their special education teachers from leaving, because we provide coaching and professional development tailored to the needs of special education teachers, so they're more likely to stay. So if you know a school that needs our support, definitely you can DM me. You can send them my information. You can click the link in my bio, and I'm going to drop the link here in the chat for everyone else who is not on IG. That is my link. Also, if you would if you need more support, you can definitely click the link in my bio, the link that I shared, and you can book a free 15-minute consultation. If you need more help with tips, definitely click the link in my bio. And if you need more support than that, we can go from there. Okay? All right. So remember, share this out. Put hashtag replay in the chat. And I will see you all next Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night. See you.